Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your cruise news update. And we have an influencer that's upset with social media because they were busted on their cruise. Is Celebrity Cruises going to require you to have a passport in order to cruise with them? And we have a couple that was kicked off their cruise because of a slot machine. So cruise story number one, and this is a wild one, as an influencer is upset with social media because they got busted for bringing drugs on their cruise. So what happened is Ocean and Jayla, they have a Instagram page with 132,000 followers, and they have a Facebook with 250,000 followers. And they posted on their Instagram, and in the thumbnail, it said, "We successfully brought gas on our cruise." Now, if you don't know what gas is, it's drugs. So they said they were sitting there day 2 of the cruise, and they're at one of the bars having a good time, and security personnel walk up to Ocean and Jayla, and they said, "Is this your video?" And he says, "Once I saw the screenshot, I knew we were busted." He said, "Yes, it is." He goes, "Well, we're going to need to go back to your cabin, and we're going to need to search it." They searched their cabin, and they found the drugs. He tried to say, "Well, it's illegal. See, I have a medical card." Come on. You know better than that. They confiscated the drugs, and what's interesting is watching some of their other videos, they were allowed to continue their cruise. And I've seen nothing about that they were permanently banned from Carnival Cruise Line. Now, John Heald, the brand ambassador for Carnival, about 2 weeks ago said, we are watching social media. And if you're out there bragging about bringing alcohol on board, this was for alcohol. He goes, "We are going to confiscate it, and you will be banned from Carnival Cruise Line." Obviously, if they're looking out for alcohol, they're going to be looking out for other things. And the wild thing is they did a follow-up video on it. Instead of deleting the Instagram video, which everyone was saying, "You need to delete this video, you're going to get busted," they did another video. So basically, they snitched on themselves. That's what they were upset about. And they gave the play-by-play of how everything went down. Folks, don't do this. They are absolutely watching. There has been numerous passengers saying they know for a fact that there is crew members and people from the cruise lines joining their roll calls in Facebook. I've walked on the cruise ship and they 100% know who I am. They have a ship's manifest. They know who you are. This is a wild story. Now, the real question is, do you think they should have been banned from Carnival Cruise Line? So cruise story number 2, and Celebrity Cruises just freaked out a ton of their passengers by sending this email out right here. And as you can see, this email states that passports are required. Now, this is all over social media. People were extremely worried about this. They said, "I thought this was a closed loop sailing and it wasn't required to have a passport." Now, if you're not familiar with what a closed loop sailing is, it is a cruise that leaves from the United States, comes back to the United States, and visits a foreign port on the itinerary. It's going to be the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Alaska. It encompasses a lot of cruises. And people are like, "What am I going to do? I'm a week out from my cruise. There's no way I can get a passport." Well, come to find out, I picked up the phone and called Celebrity Cruises, and I stayed on the phone for about 45 minutes. I asked them, "What is the deal here?" Talked to a supervisor, and they said it was sent in error. We have been flooded with phone calls, people asking. He says, if you hit the link right there where it says here, it takes you to a page, and it says that passports are highly recommended, but you can use a birth certificate and ID. Now, I do always recommend you have a passport. And a lot of people from other countries just don't understand why Americans don't have passports. And it was interesting because I was talking to a couple and they're from Belgium. And they said, 3 hours one way, 2 hours another. We're in multiple different countries. And I said, when I lived in the Florida Panhandle, we went to the Florida Keys and it was 14 and a half hours and we were in the same state. That blew their mind. That's why only about 25% of Americans have passports. If you're not going to travel outside the country, you can travel anywhere in the United States and not have to worry about that. Whereas you're in Europe, you have to have a passport. It's just interesting. Do you have a passport when you cruise? And if not, why not? Let me know in the comments. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like the video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and we have another wild story from the casino of Royal Caribbean's Radiance of the Seas. So the Radiance of the Seas was leaving Tampa, Florida, and doing a repositioning cruise to Los Angeles, California. This is a 15-day cruise, as the Radiance of the Seas was getting ready for her Alaska summer season. And it was the first night of the 15-day cruise, and this is per eyewitness reports, is they said someone was on a slot machine. And they told others, hey, could you watch over my machine? Just let people know I am using the restroom. And I'm going to put a note on it also. Everyone's like, yeah, sure, no problem. There's other slot machines available. The casino is not packed. And a couple decides to walk up to this machine, discard that note, not listen to anybody around them, and start playing on this machine, while apparently there's still credits from the other passenger in the machine. Passenger gets back from the restroom and is like, what are you doing? Other people are like, we tried to tell him. So these passengers, this couple, is getting called out. And they don't like that. So they get physical. They push this other passenger down to the ground. And they're yelling at this passenger. Now, security obviously gets involved. They review all the recordings. And obviously there's a ton of cameras in the casino on a cruise ship. Here are the eyewitness reports, and they tell the couple, you're going to your cabin. You are going to be banned there until we get to Grand Cayman. You're not allowed to leave your cabin, where you will be kicked off the ship, and you will be banned from Royal Caribbean for life over a slot machine. How ridiculous is that? Now, I'm not one that goes to the casino. And in talking to some people say, hey, you can't do this. Put a note on there, hold a machine. Others said, hey, if it's not real busy in the casino, you can do that. What do you guys think about it? Those that go to the casino. I just think this is just some common decency. You see this note, you leave it alone. All this over a slot machine. You have to pay your way home from Grand Cayman, and you're no longer allowed to go on Royal Caribbean, likely celebrity cruises, and any affiliate brands of them. That's usually how they do it. Let me know what you think. So I appreciate you guys watching. And one other thing that I want to tell you is make sure you're watching your cruise prices. I have never seen so many cruise drops. This past week in one of my cruises went down 3 times. It was like 300, then 300, then 200. $800 in 3 days I saved on a cruise. So just a reminder, make sure you're watching those cruise prices almost daily. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again for the continued support. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.